Nehemiah 5:14 through chapter 7. Furthermore, from the day King 20th year until his 32nd year, 12 years, I and my associates never ate from the food allotted to the governor. The governors who preceded me had heavily burdened the people, taking food and wine. Their subordinates also oppressed the people. But I didn't do this because of the fear of God. Instead, I devoted myself to the construction of the wall, and all my subordinates were gathered there for the work. We didn't buy any land. There were 150 Jews and officials, as well as guests from the surrounding neighborhood. 1 ox, 6 choice sheep, and some fowl were prepared for me. An abundance of all kinds of wine was provided every 10 days. But I didn't demand the people was so heavy. Remember me favorably, my God, for all I have done for this people. When Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem, and that no gap was left in it, though at that time I had not installed the doors in the gates, Sanballat and Geshem sent me a message, "Come, let us meet," planning to harm me. So I sent messengers to them saying, "I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Why should the work I leave it and go down to you?" 4 times they sent me the same proposal, and I gave them the same reply. Sanballat sent me this Zaid, who had an open letter in his hand. In it was written, "It is reported among the nations, and Geshem agrees, that you rebel. This is the reason you are building the wall. According to these reports, you are to become their king, and have even set up the prophets in Jerusalem to proclaim on your behalf. There will be heard by the king. So come, let's confirm together." Then I replied to him, "There is nothing you are spreading. You are inventing them in your own mind." For they were all trying to intimidate us, saying, "They will never be finished." But now, my God, strengthen me. I went to the house of Shemaiah, son of Del, who was restricted to his house. He said, "Let us meet at the house of God inside the temple. Let us shut the temple doors. They are coming to kill you tonight." But I said, "Should a man like me run away? How can I enter the temple and live? I will not go." I realized that God had not sent him because of the prophet, and Sanballat had hired him. He was hired so that I would be intimidated, do as he suggested, sin, and get a bad reputation, in order that they could discredit me. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat for what they have done, and also Noadiah the prophetess. The wall was completed in 52 days. On the 25th day of the month Elul, when all our enemies heard this, nations were intimidated and lost their confidence, for they realized that this task had been accomplished by our God. Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and Tobiah's letters came to them. For many in Judah were bound by oath to him, since he was a son-in-law of Shechan. Jehohanan had married the daughter of Meshullam, son of Berechiah. These nobles kept mentioning Tobiah's good deeds to him, and Tobiah sent letters to intimidate me. When the wall had been rebuilt and I had the doors installed, the gatekeepers, singers, and Levites were appointed. Then I put my brother Hanani in charge of Jerusalem, along with Hananiah, commander of the. I said to them, Do not open the gates of Jerusalem until the sun is hot, and let the doors be shut and securely fastened, while some at their posts and some at their homes. The city was large and spacious, but there were few people in it, and no houses had been built yet, and the people to be registered by genealogy. I found the genealogical record of those who came back first, and I found the following written in it: exiles deported by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Each of them returned to his own town in Jerusalem and Judah. They came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Rehemiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpereth, Bigval, Nahum, and Baanah. The number of the Israelite men included Parosh descendants, 2,172, Shephatiah's descendants, 372, Araz's descendants, 652, Jeshua and Joab's descendants, 2,818, Elam's descendants, 1,254, Zattu's descendants, 845, Zakai's descendants, 760, 48, Bebi's descendants, 628, Azgad's descendants, 2,322, Adonikam's descendants, 667, Bigvi's descendants, 2,067, Aidan's descendants, 655, Ad 98, Hashum's descendants, 328, Bezai's descendants, 324, 112, Gibeon's descendants, 95, Bethlehem and Netophah's men, Anathoth's men, 128, Beth Asmaveth's men, 42, Kiriath Jearim, Shephirah's 743, Ramah and Geba's men, 621, Mikmah's men, Bethel's and Ai's men, 123, the other Nebo's men, 52, the other Elam's 54, Harim's people, 320, Jericho's people, 345, Lod's people, 721, Sanaa's people, 3,930. The priests, descendants of the house of Jeshua, 973, Emer's descendants, 1,052, Pashur's descendants, 47, Harim's descendants, 1,017. The Levites included Jeshua's descendants of Kadmiel, Hodiva's descendants, 74. The singers, 148. The gatekeepers included Shallum's descendants, Atter's descendants, Talmon's descendants, Akub's descendants, Hatita's descendants, 138. The temple servants included Zihah's descendants, Hasupha's descendants, Tabaros' descendants, Sia's descendants, Padon's descendants, Labana's descendants, Hagabah's descendants, Hanan's descendants, Gedel's descendants, Gahar's descendants, Reaiah's descendants, Rez's descendants, Gazam's descendants, Uzzah's descendants, Paseah's descendants, Besai's descendants, Nephishisim's descendants, Bakbuk's descendants, Hakupha's descendants, Mehida's descendants, Harsha's descendants, Barko's descendants, Sisera's descendants, Hatipha's descendants. The descendants of Solomon's servants included Sotai's descendants, Perida's descendants, Jaalad's descendants, Darkon's descendants, Gidel's descendants, Shephatiah's descendants, Pachereth Hazabaim descendants, Ammon's descendants, all the temple servants, and the descendants of 992. The following are those who came from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Kerib, Adon, and Emer. Families and Israel and ancestry were Israelite. Delaiah's descendants, Tobiah's descendants, and Nekoda's descendants, 642. And from the priests, the descendants of Hobiah, the descendants of Hakkoz, and the descendants of Barzillai, who had taken a wife from the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called by their name. But they could not be found. So they were disqualified from the priesthood. The governor ordered them not to eat the most holy things until they consult the Urim and Thummim. The whole combined assembly numbered 7,337 male and female slaves, as well as their 245 male and female, 6 horses, 245 mules, 435 camels, and 6,720 donkeys to the project. The governor gave 1,000 gold drachmas, 50 bowls, and 530 priestly garments to the treasury, 1,000 gold drachmas, and 2,200 silver minas to the treasury for the project. The rest of the people gave 20,000 gold minas and 67 priestly garments. So the priests, Levites, gatekeepers, temple singers, some of the people, temple servants, and all Israel settled. First Corinthians 8, 1 through 13. About food offered to idols. Inflates with pride, but love builds up. If anyone thinks he knows anything, he does not yet know it as he ought to know it, but God, he is known by him. About eating food offered to idols, then, we know that an idol is nothing God but one. For even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, as there are many gods, yet for us there is one God, the Father, from whom are all things, and we for him, and one Lord, whom are all things, and we through him. However, not everyone has this knowledge. In fact, idolatry up until now, that when they eat food offered to an idol, their conscience, being weak, is defiled. Food will not make us acceptable to God. We are not inferior if we don't eat, and we are not better if we do eat. Yours in no way becomes a stumbling block to the weak. For if somebody sees you, the one who has this knowledge, dining, won't his weak conscience be encouraged to eat food offered to idols? Then the weak person, the brother, for is ruined by your knowledge. Now when you sin like this against the brothers and wound their weak conscience, you are sinning. Therefore, if food causes my brother to fall, I will never again eat meat, so that I won't cause. Proverbs 21, 8 through 10. A guilty man's conduct is crooked, but the behavior of the innocent. Better to live on the quarter of a roof than to share a house with a nagging wife.